What's up, everybody? Hey, it's Justin again. I have a cool review for you today of the Berg Blades Bottle Butcher. So you can see it here on the table. I've had this guy I've had this for maybe 4 or 5 years now, quite a while. I've sharpened it up myself on my Wicked Edge, so you'll see that in the video. That's not the factory edge. The edge that it came with was very nice, but just an FYI. So the intent of this knife is to put it on a keychain or just kind of slip it into your pocket. It does not have a clip, but it does have this nice little Kydex sheath. And yeah, you can see here it's a bottle opener on the top, and then it's a nice little like cleaver style blade inside the sheath. So that is hard to do under the camera. Anyway, yeah, so this is my short review of this guy. Probably one of my favorite knives in my collection. I probably say that a lot, but you know, it really is. It's very useful, easy to carry, fits well in a change pocket. I've never carried it on a keychain, but it probably would carry, you know, pretty well on it. It's a little heavy for that, but you know, I think it fits great in the pocket. Nice backup knife. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So looking at blade steel, these are 440C, which is a decent steel. Nothing spectacular, but it's definitely good enough for most tasks that you would ever use it for. And you can see the entirety of the steel, if I can get it out, has this black coating on it, which, you know, 440C is already pretty rust resistant. This is only going to help with that. Also gives it a nice anti-reflective appearance, which is cool. So yeah, I gave the blade steel a 5 on this. Looking at the clip, this doesn't have a clip, but instead rate it in terms of how easily does it carry, does it conceal well, is it intrusive in your pocket, you know, just different factors like that. And I gave it a 7 because, in my opinion, this does carry very well. It fits nicely, as I mentioned, into your change pocket, or you can put it on a keychain, or it'll just slide into your regular pocket and just kind of disappear. It's not very heavy. So yeah, in terms of, I guess, carryability, it's, you know, pretty high up there. So yeah, I gave it a score of a 7. Looking at lock type, this does not lock. It's a fixed blade that just simply has a sheath. So this is how you protect yourself from just a bare blade, I guess, in your pocket. Yeah, not really much else to say on lock type. It doesn't lock, just a fixed blade knife. Looking at materials, I gave this a 7. So this is a Kydex sheath for it, which is pretty nice. I mean, very durable. And then the blade has this nice black coating on it. The Berg Blades logo is nicely imprinted onto the blade. I don't know if it's etched. Probably like a laser printer or something. The handle scales, which I believe these are G10. They also make a carbon fiber version, but they're nicely machined. You can see here around the edges, and they made up to the steel portion really nicely. There really aren't any sharp edges aside from the bottle opener, which kind of makes sense. And then a few up here are, this point here's a little bit sharp, but not too bad. So yeah, I mean, overall, I guess I was getting into the quality a little bit, but materials are pretty nice. I mean, G10 scales, Kydex sheath, nice coating, steel torque screws. So I give the materials a score of a 7. Size comparison, this guy is pretty tiny. I'm not sure if you can tell when I hold it in my hand, but you can see here next to the Spyderco Mannix lightweight. It is a tiny little knife. And that's kind of, I guess, drives home the point that it fits in your change pocket nicely. So you can see here it doesn't even account for the handle on the Mannix or the Buck 110. And because I have it sitting nearby, I will compare it to this Benchmade as well. So yeah, just a tiny little knife, but very compact, and again, as I mentioned, easy to carry, which is nice. So looking at the action on this, I just gave it an average score of 5. I mean, again, it's a fixed blade. You know, it's easy enough to pull out of the sheath and put into the sheath. That's not really what I would consider an action, but I didn't want to not give it a rating because then it would look like the overall score would look lower than it actually is in terms of how much I would recommend this knife. So yeah, I just gave it a 5. Moving on to hardware, it only has 4 screws. They're all on the handle here. You can see them on this side and this side. Those are all T6, which are fine. You know, as you guys know, I tend to look at ease of maintenance with hardware as well. So I did give this a score of a 9, and the reason is T6 screws are fine. I mean, in most cases, they're not going to strip out on you. They could be, you know, T8s or T10s, which I'd probably give this a score of a 10 if they were. But yeah, this knife's going to be extremely easy to maintain. Take it out of the sheath, take the scales off, clean it out, put them back on. So yeah, I think it easily deserves a 9 for that. Looking at the price, I think this is the first. No, I guess the Rayout Jack, I gave it 10 as well, but I give this a score of a 10 on price. I think that's very well deserved. I mean, I think the last time I checked, these are like $42 plus shipping. If you don't have one of these, get one is basically my input for that. Very reasonable for what you get. It's very well made, very handy as like a backup knife. Yeah, I would highly recommend this little guy. So I gave him a score of a 10 on price. And then finally, quality. I gave this a score of a 9. It is well made. I mean, the sheath, you can see here, there's a little bit of plastic right there where the blade kind of hits it when you put it back into the sheath. Not too bad. Probably wasn't there when I first got the knife, but otherwise, yeah, this is a well-made knife sheath combo. I mean, I kind of talked about it earlier, but the scales are nicely machined. The edges aren't too sharp. The factory edge was very nice and sharp when I received the knife. This sheath is, you know, it's a Kydex sheath. It's well put together though. I mean, the retention hasn't changed really since I've had the knife. So yeah, I gave it a score of a 9. In summation, overall score of 52. The action being an average of 5 does hurt it a little bit. I mean, the blade steel is 440. If they upgraded it, I'd give that a higher score. But overall, great little knife. Again, would highly recommend it. If you don't have one, definitely pick one up. Looking at competition, the market for small fixed blades has definitely grown over the past year or two. Columbia River has quite a few now, which have, you know, small sheaths that are somewhat equivalent to this. I think they're a little bit bigger. I don't know what the names of them are. And then I think Cold Steel maybe makes a few smaller fixed blades, but this is the smallest that I have personally seen, and in my estimation, it holds a pretty unique spot in the market because it also has this bottle opener, and it's also has really thick blade stock. So you can see that versus the Mannix here. So yeah, pretty unique little knife. But yeah, anyway, so thanks a lot for watching, and please subscribe and like if you haven't. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and you know, I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Have a good day. See ya.